Hello, everybody, or Herete. Welcome to another London Pagans video. This is number 21, and my name is Evan Rigakis, and I am your administrator. All right, well, there's been a lot of inquiries into this next subject that I'm going to do here. I'm going to address a very sensitive and highly debatable subject. So it basically comes from this one question that I posted at some point, and I said, do the gods incarnate as mortals? Now, of course, that's divine incarnation. That's spin off in so many ancient cultures. I mean, if you just take the Egyptians for example, I mean, their pharaohs were gods. The Romans, Caesar was a god, incarnated, I guess, right? But when it comes to the Greek, there's a little bit of a difference. And that's basically mostly because, I guess, of it riddled all through our mythology, you know, how the gods would couple with mortals and produce babies or offspring or what have you. Which, by the way, begs to differ. Now that we know about DNA, if the gods were truly another, type of being, whatever, I mean, completely separate from us, even though they created us, then by coupling with us, if our DNA wasn't compatible, there would be no offspring. So, since there were offspring, therefore, aren't the gods actually more like ancestors? You know what I mean? Okay, well, maybe that's another video. I don't know. Okay, so let's get into this. So, it's a question that doesn't really necessarily have an easy, simple answer. But I can't keep, ignoring the fact that more and more people have been coming forward with their claim, their serious belief that they are an incarnation of a god or a goddess, Greek specifically. When you first, it's perfectly natural. I mean, first of all, let me say that it is very brave for a serious, rational individual to come forth with such, publicly with such a claim. That's very brave and maybe a little foolish too. The first automatic response to such a claim is that the individual is either delusional or believes he or she is some sort of second coming, or, even though even that is very highly debatable, but they do insist that Jesus was an incarnation of God, specifically Yahweh, the Canaanite God. Anyways, but with that said, the ancient Hellenic traditions, this is not such a far-fetched idea. So, yes, of course, there is much, not only of the gods coupling with mortals, but I mean they also deified individuals. Orpheus was deified. Alexander the Great was deified. I believe they made him out to be like a Dionysus or something like that. But again, that's not exactly what we're talking about here. We're talking more of, well, let me just keep reading here. In the Hellenic traditions, this is actually a very serious subject since ancient times. In the Hellenic mystery tradition, we are taught that divinity is an intricate part of the human condition. A lot of ancient Greeks believed that divinity was part of the human condition, notably Orpheus. Orpheism taught inner divinity. We are made up of an earthly Titan element and a divine Dionysian element. Orphism also taught that the Titan element is the prison of the Dionysian element, or the divine element. Initiates of the mysteries work to subdue the earthly and so release the spirit, or daimona, self. The Orphic response to the claim of divine incarnation is, of course, we are all incarnations of our own inner divinity. And basically that's what it's all about, really. Though this is the proper response and to the claimant, it is not what the claimants mean by divine incarnation. Instead, some claim to be an incarnation of some very popular gods. The potential of this being true diminishes really when more than one individual claims to be the same god or goddess. I've run into multiple Athenas. Hecate is off the charts. I mean, I know at least 4 people who claim to be incarnations of Hecate. I really don't think it works that way. A nice little joke I like to do with them is I'll ask them, well, if you're a god or goddess, whatever the case may be, where are your powers? Why do you not glow? Or, I mean, why are you hungry? Why are you looking, why are you homeless? And, why do you have all these problems in your lives when you got all these powers? Where are these powers? Can you exhibit them? And of course they can't. But that was really a trick, because even if the consciousness of a god or goddess would enter this body, they may have infinite powers, but the body is not equipped. You know, it doesn't have these abilities, or at least they're too dormant in us to be able to be used if a God would incarnate in this present stage of evolution in our human body. So there is a reason why a God incarnating into a mortal does not necessarily come with all the bells and whistles and thunderbolts in his hand and throwing them at squirrels because they annoy him. No, that's the movies. This is not the movies. Okay, this is real. We're dealing with not the movies. And anyways, let me just continue, because then I'll just rantle off onto something else. Okay, yes. It should be noted that the ancient Greeks also believed they were the descendants of the gods. The gods made us. The Kabiri made us out of clay, for example. There are a lot of creation myths in Greek mythology. So, back to Orpheus. Orpheus believed that the gods made everything. So, whatever the gods made, divinity can only make divinity, if that makes sort of sense. So if they made us, they're like our parents, So we shouldn't look at them, Lord, like the Christian idea of God as some supernatural being, but we got to think of them more as highly evolved beings that are basically our ancestors, because DNA tells us that human DNA is not indigenous to Earth. But that's another topic. Anyway, okay, so the ancient Greek mysteries were a series of initiation rites, and it was spread throughout all Greek city-states. This is basically what we would call ancient Greek religion, is the mysteries. But academically and from the Roman perspective, the mysteries were cult centers, implying some sort of worship. And again, that's highly wrong. The mysteries were a series of initiation rites. They were initiated into the mysteries. They were taught. The mysteries were, the ancient Greeks considered these initiation rites to be the teachings of the gods. The gods taught them everything. Everything they know, they mimicked from the gods. The rites were conducted by officers of the mysteries. Those who would conduct these mysteries, these rites, or give these teachings would have to be the gods themselves. But the officers did not just, the officer did not just represent the gods, they were the direct descendants of those gods. You can find this out in the rites of at Eleusis. at Lucis, where there's two family names that are noted, one for the Hierophant and one for the Kyrix. The Kyrix being in English the herald, and the officer that held that office was a direct descendant of Hermes. So you might want to look into that. But each officer belonged to a priestly family. These families would have had, what was meant by a priestly family is that the god or goddess has created a bloodline, what they would call a royal bloodline, per se. These bloodlines were at one point highly common. I mean, throughout all of Greece, there were families at each mysteries. This was usually expressed in our mythology by the gods coupling with the mortals. Yes, theoretically, this meant the DNA of the god would mix with mortal DNA, by which the god leaves a marker on mortal bloodline or DNA. In the underworld, the marker acts like a homing device, which would allow the consciousness of the god to enter the fetus and so incarnate. It was also said, through the mysteries, the gods secretly influenced the affairs of mortals. Of course, the question is, what happened to these bloodlines, and do they still exist? Well, the mystery centers functioned up until about the 4th century AD, when the Roman emperor ordered the destruction of all pagan temples and enforced the new official Roman religion. These priestly families dispersed. Most families stayed together and fled to the mountains, while rumor has it that some fled to other countries, mostly north to their cousin Odin. I read that somewhere. I don't know where, but I did. So the bloodlines through 1700 years now have been diluted. They've been mixed with other cultures. They've remained highly secretive. And it is highly likely that some bloodlines have survived unbroken through the years, I guess, but remain highly secretive, like I said. Yeah, here we go. One final consideration would be to look at your past lives. I wrote that? Oh, I guess so. So hold on. Perhaps what you are feeling is a past life or lives in which you had achieved enlightenment. An enlightened individual will return, even though he doesn't or she doesn't have to take on the mission of bringing others to the light to show the way home. So maybe what you're feeling is not a god, let's say, but really your own self telling you you're already here, carry on from here, and you're here to, to help others. Maybe that's why you feel the need to help others. food for thought. Okay? So, how much truth there is in all of this is left to really personal experience, I guess, and personal truth. Next time someone comes along who claims to be the incarnation of one of the gods, don't be so quick to dismiss as just another lunatic. Maybe just consider it for at least a couple of minutes. Anyways, okay. If you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It helps me a lot, and I will help you a lot. Okay? So, thank you.